So how has this COVID-19 pandemic impacted the gaming and esports landscape in 2020? Let's find out. So we've talked about whether or not esports should be compared to traditional sports, and we dove into the disconnect between the casual gamer and the hardcore esports fan. So now, I think it's time we tried to figure out how this COVID-19 pandemic has shifted the gaming and esports landscape. See, the gaming audience is inherently a digitally native audience, but how does that translate when the events they're consuming are digital only? Do we need live, in-person interaction, even when we're watching from home? Now, I have this theory, and I'm going to call it the Hot Ones theory. You know that crazy popular YouTube show with Sean Evans? Well, it's been my favorite show for like 3 years. But I haven't really watched an episode since they went digital only. And it's just not the same having Sean interview a famous guest over a Zoom call while I try and eat spicy wings. And I'm wondering if that same mentality also applies to gaming and esports content.
I think there are some positive takeaways that we'll have from COVID-19. I think one of the things that we've learned through going through this experience is how you can engage an audience through a digital medium. And I like to think about radio as an example. In the early days of radio, it was someone would talk and the audience would listen, right? And that's what it was. And the shows that were most interesting and could generate the most tears or the most laughs were the ones that were successful programs. But over time, you started to have radio personalities do call-ins, right, from the audience where people could ask questions and engage with the host. The TV started to do that too, right? Yep. And now you have Twitch, which is that's the essence of Twitch, is the interaction between someone on a screen and an audience, right? Like most of the time I donate money to a streamer, it's because I want them to know that I'm in the chat and I appreciate them, or that I'm saying hi or whatever, right? It's an easy way for me to be part of their show, to be part of that community.
It's a great question. I think that physical live events will come back, especially for your majors, like the international, I think Sure. Like your LCS championship. Those stadium, big arena moments are really special. And it's just a part of our culture, right? I like to look at traditional sports, for example. Like you look at basketball's like, we want to get back into our arenas, right? The Golden State Warriors announced that they're going to be at 50%. And they're like, we're going to figure this out because basketball without fans isn't going to be around otherwise, right? So I think you'll see it certainly at a large level. The question is going to be at the local level with your smaller mom and pop shop, cafes, LAN centers, and arenas, right? Like those are the ones where you get 50 to 100 to 200 people showing up. How is that going to play out?
The issue that we ran into, especially like on the ground, we're running live camps, or we're running live camps. Now we're running online camps. Online camps, we charge half or less than half, but my coach costs stay the same, marketing costs stay the same, all of those things. So there are certain aspects of the industry that are built around events. I think also the industry lives online. So we're trying to essentially swim against the stream by making esports tangible in real life, and bring back arcades and things like that. Like the LAN center model does not work in the United States. We've seen this.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to think of a new way to do that. And I think that like my program, we've pivoted 100% online, and we have campers now from California, Massachusetts, Florida, South Carolina, all over the place that we wouldn't have gotten before. So there's definitely silver linings if you know where to look for them. But I will say that for you and me, like we cut our teeth in the event world, and it was incredibly special. And I remember as much as we can connect, through this medium and through Zoom and whatever, like I'd much rather be with you. We are all going to return to a time where live events are a major part of what we're doing.
But I think what you're going to see is we, at least, are going to take all of the really smart things that we've seen happen through digital events from either our doing or other teams, and we're going to bring that to the in real life event experience. And so, as an example, that we're still a long ways away from an audience getting to pick and vote on what map a team plays, right? But I think that interaction is bound to happen at some point. But I think you're going to have, interesting ways for the audience to have a say in the show of the in real life event that we might put on. But we're just gonna have to wait and see on how things play out. But I think we're gonna try to marry the two together.
Well, there you have it. It seems like everyone agrees that live events are needed to drive the esports community forward. Now, whether or not these live events are gigantic stadium events or smaller studio broadcasts is still up for discussion. But we have already started to see a surge in studio broadcasts, as well as a successful arena bubble event with the 2020 LCS. So, I actually don't necessarily think a live audience is mandatory to the esports industry, but there definitely needs to be continued emphasis on strong production polish and audience engagement. Regardless, I'm super excited to see how organizations capitalize on these new opportunities. A huge thanks to Jordan, Josh, Christian, and Shay for joining me on these. And I'd love to return to the gaming and esports topic in the future of Fresh Takes. So let me know if there's perspectives you'd like to hear or questions you want answered. And if you watched all 3 of these videos, thank you so much, and we hope to see you next time.